Hello and welcome back to Down the Forest Path, a seasonal knitting podcast. It is truly summer here now in Germany. It is extremely hot and you barely can wear any knitwear whatsoever at all. So this is a purely cotton jumper, and still after I'm finished filming this, it's coming off immediately. So I was extremely happy to be able to escape the summer heat to the UK for a few weeks, and especially to Scotland for a week. And from the trip I have brought back quite a bit of yarn, as you can already see in the background. And I also have a few cast-ons, one finished objects I want to talk about to you today. So I would say let's get started. I've decided to split the Scotland yarn talk into two parts because, to be honest, I bought too much. And so we're going to talk about Scotland, like the Fort William area today, and Alice Starmore yarns, which comes from the Hebrides. And next time I'm going to talk to you about the trip I did to the Isle of Skye, where I found this amazing hand spinning yarn store and brought back a bit of yarn from there as well. But I say I found, I didn't really find, I was recommended to go there, and that's a whole other story which I will share in this podcast. So without further ado, I would say let's get started. Whenever I go to the UK, I inevitably come back home with quite a bit of yarn. That's because I always feel like shipping things internationally can be a bit of a risk. It often gets stuck. I've had quite bad experiences with my parcel being sent back without being informed by the customs that it was even there in the first place. Since Brexit, it's been a bit of a disaster sometimes. So I really prefer buying my yarn there when I'm actually there, so I can also see it and feel it if possible. And so my yarn stash has grown quite a bit, and I will probably need quite a lot of time to knit all of this or weave, because I bought quite a lot of yarn for weaving. I am going to put myself on a yarn buying hiatus from now on, mostly. Maybe one or two skeins of Shawl wool will make their way into the stash, but apart from that I have enough for now, and I know that, and this is basically it for the moment. But I'm super excited to share these latest acquisitions with you. So the first yarn that I wanted to show you is Alice Starmore Hebridean 2-ply, and I bought quite a lot of yarn in this yarn quality. That is because I want to use it for weaving. I saw on Alice Starmore's website that she's posted a lot of woven projects and scarves with this yarn. I was not aware that it was suitable for weaving. I've knit with it before, and it's really nice. I really like it. And so when I saw how beautiful the finished scarves that were woven with it came out, I was like, yeah, I'm going to get quite a bit of that. So we have quite a lot of Alice Starmore 2-ply here, and what I really love about this yarn are the colors and the springiness of it. The colors are usually quite multifaceted. This one is not the yellow, but for example, if you look at this one, it's one of my favorites. It's called Pebble Beach. I'm going to bring it up close to the camera. You can see that it has quite a lot of different colors in it. I first became aware of this yarn because Andrea from the Fruity Knitting podcast knit the Nora Gorn Nightingale sweater in this color, in the 3-ply, and I was just absolutely smitten with how it came out. I looked at it and I was like, I want to have the same jumper in the same yarn because this is gorgeous. But then the 3-ply, I haven't seen it back in stock the whole time in this colorway. But that doesn't stop me from getting this, because the color is extremely pretty. Just the different like colors it's made out of really do make it look like a bit of a stony beach, I think. To weave with it, I might also use it in color work knitting, because that's kind of what it's made for, to be honest. But I know I will have quite a few scarves to weave with this, and I'm super excited about this. I also got this color here. I adore it. It's called Win, and when I saw it, I was like, seeing that color and then seeing Scotland, I was like, well, I don't know why it's called Win. It really looks like these gorse flowers that are growing everywhere. So I looked at what Win is, and it's actually the Scottish name for the same flower. So I was like, yeah, this is absolutely that color. It's so typical for the landscape, and I think that's the case with all of her yarn colors. It really fits into that Hebridean landscape, and it makes you think about those colors, and it made me feel so cozy and at home to see that, in a way that I'm super excited to play with all of these colors and see how they blend in together. I also have Capercaillie here. It's another really beautiful color with lots of like specks of different ones in it. I really like how complex these colors are and how they look. I feel like that's something that you don't really get if you buy commercial scarves or jumpers. You don't get something that's so faceted, because of course this takes quite a lot of effort to make, so it's more expensive. Then I also got enough to make this the main color in a scarf of this colorway, Glen. And I think it's gorgeous. It's this like kind of boggy green, and I can't wait to weave with this. Pile is kind of getting bigger here, the ones I've already shown you. Then I did get the color Sandew, which I also find quite nice, because it has this little like yellow in it, in the orange. And here we have the color Driftwood, and I know I'm going to weave a scarf out of these two together, and then a brighter one as the like accent color, and I'm going to see how this blends, and I'm quite excited about playing around with it. And then I have these ones that are kind of in the background here. So we have this colorway, Macher, so, or Macher, I don't know how you pronounce it. It's quite similar to Glen, but it's a bit paler and not quite so in the face. Then here's another Capercaillie. Here I think is, yeah, another Sandew. And we have Mountain Hare here, this kind of like pinky red, and Spindrift, which is this kind of beach color that I also thought was really interesting, and I think these are gonna go together probably with the yellow, but I'm not super sure yet. So as you can tell, this is a ton of yarn. It came in a super big parcel, shipped from the Hebrides. If I gather it all together, I kind of feel a little bit bad, but that was my vacation splurge. And I am so excited to play with this. I will keep you updated about anything that I weave with it. And I think these are going to be part of quite a lot of presents, especially come the winter time. So I'll keep you posted on how this is going, but some of them might have to stay a secret until after they're given away. And then my mother-in-law, who is a ferocious knitter, like she is so fast. I can't believe how quickly she kind of like churns out jumpers and stuff like that. It's amazing. Got me into this yarn, which is the Camarose Lovetand. It's 100% organic linen, and it's I love it because it's linen yarn, but it doesn't feel super stiff. I've knit with linen before and it was fun, but it was also quite challenging. But this already feels soft, and it will soften more while knitting with it and while washing it. And you can see it's super shiny, so that's something that I really like about it, and it's so cool. It's going to be amazing for summer. So I have, I think, 6 balls in this silver gray color, and I'm planning to make this into a summer tee, but with a bit longer sleeves, because I don't really like short capped sleeves, so I always make them a little bit longer. But I'm not quite sure which pattern I'm going to use for that yet, so if you have any brilliant suggestions, then let me know in the comment, because I'm curious about hearing about that. So I have it in this color, and my mother-in-law had made 2 tees from it already. I tell you, she's like such a speed knitter. So she had already made 2 tees with this, and she very generously gave me her leftovers. So I also have a little bit of this in the powder color, which I think is super pretty. The way it kind of like catches the light, it's just really like warm and kind of luxurious in a way. And the natural color, which I also like, it reminds me of like wheat in the summer wind, because it has this wheat yellow kind of sheen to it, like a field of grain does when the wind goes through it. So I will see. I think the leftovers she gave me are enough if I make like a stripy top or something with it. So I'll see what I come up with, because I'm super excited to knit with this. I saw how her tees came out. They were gorgeous. They had so much drape. It was like almost a bit like really fine chainmail from the drapiness of it, and it looked amazing on her. So I hope that I can create something that even comes like remotely close to that for myself. Let me take you along on that road trip that we did a little bit, because these yarns that I talked about now all arrived in England at my in-laws for me, even though of course the Alice Starmore is a Scottish yarn. And then we set off in our small car from the south of England and drove all the way up to the north. We stayed in Durham for a night, and then went all the way further up to around the area of Fort William. Let me tell you, that area is probably the most beautiful landscape I have ever seen in my life. It is so beautiful that when I first saw it, it made me cry. And I have not experienced that much. I am not a crier, and it just took my breath away. I was so amazed that something so beautiful could just be there in the sunshine, because we also had sunshine. Apparently we had the best summer weather in Scotland in like years. I was just staring at these hills, and I couldn't believe my eyes at the sheer beauty of this place. And I'm extremely grateful that we got to stay there for quite a while and go on hikes and enjoy every aspect of it. We went hiking so much, we had such good food, the people were so friendly, and we had an all over completely amazing time. I think we both said at some point it's the best vacation ever, and I think it truly was. And since we stayed in the area around Fort William, at some point I googled yarn store Fort William, as you do, because I like to bring back yarns when I travel. I always feel like it gives me a kind of like nostalgic thing to remember my travels by, if I manage to bring back a skein or 2 from there, ideally even like local wool, because then I can knit it up into something and it becomes like a memory that I can wear and carry around with me, which makes me quite happy. So we went to Fort William because I wanted to check out this yarn store. Unfortunately, I saw it would be on summer holiday for a week and we would have missed it being open. So we made it there on the last day before the summer holiday, and it was one of the cutest yarn stores I've ever been in. They had a really good assortment of stuff. They had an amazing book section, which I spent quite a lot of time just like looking through. And the owner is super friendly. I had a lot of fun chatting with her about like knitting and her experience of like opening a wool store there and living there. And she also had the cutest shop assistant I've ever seen, Peanut. Peanut is the shop puppy, and she likes to try to help by running around on the keyboard and trying to fill orders. And I'm usually not a huge dog person, but Peanut really stole my heart away, the way she was just like curled up and friendly and excited to have people come in and look at the wool. So I had a very long look around in that store, and in the end I picked a few things that I would want to take. And this was like skein of the West Yorkshire Spinners, the Croft. So this is 100% Shetland Islands wool. You can also get it like in other parts of the UK, and I think I've even seen it in Germany or something. So it's not like this is super rare wool, but I really like this like autumny orange color. I have a few things in mind that I could make from it, and for me it was like, okay, it might not be like the most rare wool to get, but I really like that I got it there, and I will be able to remember that I did, and I will be happy that I did, and it will add a kind of like layer of nostalgia for me that it wouldn't have if I'd gotten it from somewhere else. So that was my one purchase. And then I also got this here. This is a British fiber Moored Shetland, and I think this is made specifically for that wool store. So as you can see, this is roving, so it's not super twisted, and that means it's 200 gram. It was not expensive. It being roving means that it's not really suited for high abrasion projects. So what I will do is I will make this into a few cabled hats and then give them away. You can't really make mittens out of it unless you want to felt them, because roving tends to like really attract dirt and dust and everything and collect it. That's also why I picked it in this color and not in white, because white roving is brave if you go for it. But I think this is going to make like a few really nice cozy hats, and you don't need to wash hats often. You don't tend to get them dirty. So I see a few Christmas presents out of like this Scottish wool coming up in the near future, and it's going to be quick knitting because this is 129 meters for 200 grams, so it's like super bulky yarn to make something out of as well. By the way, I don't think I actually mentioned the name of the store yet. It's the Caledonian Wool in Fort William. You can see there. They also have like an Instagram account you can follow, and they're on Facebook and on YouTube and Twitter. And especially the YouTube account might be interesting to a few of you, because she has these really cute felting kits that she does. And on her YouTube account she has felting tutorials for the kits, but I think you can also profit from the instructions if you like are just felting on your own and you maybe like can't afford to have a kit shipped out to you or something like that. But I would really recommend looking at the kits as well, because they are adorable. There's some really cute like Scottish inspired ones that she has made. It's either in a like embroidery hoop at the end, so it's round, or it's a little like hanger you can put on a wall, and they're really cute. So that was one of the really like cool products that the store had. And the second thing that I thought was really nice were these shawl pins. So she had a whole shelf of shawl pins, and they are made by her mom. They are made from clay and then she puts wildflowers into the clay and presses down on it. So I thought that was such a sweet idea, and this, of course, like local flowers. So I saw it and I was like, this is going to be such a great memory of the strip that I definitely need to have one. And I saw this one, which was in these like gorgeous blue and white ceramic colors, and that are colors that I gravitate towards anyway, because I really like the blue and white color scheme and stuff. So that was, I saw it and I was smitten, and I was like, oh, I never really wear shawl pins that much. Like shawls, yes, shawl pins, not really. I sometimes like use just a bobby pin or like other hair accessories to pin it, or a brooch. But when I saw this, I was like, there are some shawls that I have that this will look so cool with, that I should really get it. And I'm happy that I did, because the story behind how it's made, who's made it, and what it means, like with the wildflowers and everything, I thought really gave it a lot of like meaning, which I really like for the stuff that I buy. And I'll put it on my jumper now so you can actually get a better impression of what it looks like worn. It kind of goes through the shawl, and then the little ring is going around like that. I think I will probably kind of like wear it more in the middle if I wear a shawl, and then pin both sides through it, wear it like here on the shoulder. I think that also looks quite cool, and I'm quite like excited about trying to work this into my wardrobe when it's not like super my usual style, but I will definitely honor and cherish this pin, and I'm very grateful for having found it. And do you remember that I said the book section in the store was amazing? Yeah, so of course I really couldn't go completely like past it without buying anything, and I got 2 books that were knitting related. One of them is this, which I've already started, but I've not gotten super far yet. This is This Golden Fleece by Esther Rutter, A Journey Through Britain's Knitted History. And it's basically a full story of like wool and knitting in the UK. It's super interesting. I did not know that Romans had sheep wearing little jackets, so that was already an exciting revelation from the first few pages, and I'm quite curious about what the rest of this book will bring. I already spotted some exciting photos in the middle of the book where it's about like fair isle knitting and knitting through history. So yeah, I'm going to see how this book goes. I can't read it all in one go. I'm not like that with like factual books. I just read them in small chunks, so this will probably take a while, but so far I've really liked reading this, and I think she also takes us along her knitting a project through the book, so I'm quite curious about that as well, because I like reading other people's knitting experiences. And the second thing that I brought was the Journal of Scottish Yarns Spring-Summer 2023. In the Caledonian Wool, I found quite a lot of them. She also had some older ones, but I decided to go with this one because I really liked the cover of it. And this is basically a magazine about Scottish yarns. I'm going to flip a little bit, and about vendors who produce them, and art, textile art. So you can see it's quite like a lot of background information. So we have all of that, which I really like, because I like reading about how yarn is produced and who's making my yarn, where it's from, like what it means culturally. I always find it really important to have this connection. So we have all of that. There's a lot about like weaving in here as well, which I really appreciated as someone who does like to weave. And then in the second half of it, we have gorgeous patterns, really nice patterns, which I was also quite excited about, because I'm sure I will find something to knit from this book. Some of the patterns weren't quite my style, but that doesn't always matter. There's something in there that I will want to make. For example, where is it? Yes, I thought this top was quite nice, the thumb top. I think I would probably go for different colors, but I really like this like wavy look that it had. So that's a strong candidate for me. And yeah, there are some crochet patterns in there as well, which I thought was quite cool because it's often quite overlooked, unfortunately. And this top I thought was also cute. So it's this little color work tee that has this rose motif along the neckline. So yeah, there's something in there for everyone. I was quite happy with it. And it has this fresh magazine smell. I don't know if you know what I mean, but it's like, it just smells like books, and I really, really like that smell. So having it in the shelf has also made me happy for the past few days since arriving home again. We started with the acquisitions and we did quite a lot of them. So you've seen the piles of yarn and everything. I found spots in my home for them now. It's all good, but yeah, I know I'm on a like kind of like buying hiatus for a while probably. But I also have a finished object which I'm wearing, which is also why I'm getting a little bit shiny around the edges because it's too warm to wear a jumper. And that is my Sommer Sweater by Lene, Holme, Samsøe. So you know I've already knit this jumper before in a grey wool that was Drops, not Boom Bell, Drops Bell. I knit this before in Drops Bell, and here I have knitted again in Drops Muscat. So this is 100% cotton. It's around a DK weight, and this worked out beautifully for this pattern. I am super happy how it came out. I think the yoke comes out super pretty in this yarn. The stitch definition is amazing. I feel like I can really see all of the individual leaves. Let me get my hair out of the way so you can have a better look. Oh, it's sticky because it's so hot outside. Yeah, here we go. So there you can see all of the different leaves, and this cotton is shiny and it's sturdy, which I really like because I don't have enough jumpers to really like hike in. And I've hiked in this already and it was amazing. It worked really well. It doesn't make you feel hot and sweaty. It just makes you feel protected from the wind. And this yarn also has this like sheen to it, which I think is quite pretty. I don't know if you can see it. And it can go in the washer. I think officially it cannot go in the dryer, but I've just chucked this jumper in the dryer because after I've put it through the washer, it was huge. I mean, as stuff tends to be. So I was a bit scared and felt a bit like, oh my god, I've ruined it. But then I put it in the dryer and it shrank right back to its original size and came out like this, which fits me perfectly. I'm so happy with this. It really does fit like it was made for me, which it was, and I'm quite excited about this. So I will now show you a few clips of me wearing it in Scotland. Pattern. I find this quite clear and easy to follow. This is a good pattern for someone who's maybe knit a little bit of lace before but would like to try their first lace jumper. That was my second lace jumper. The first one was a Ranunculus, which is I think around the same level of difficulty. So if you've knit a Ranunculus and you feel comfortable, then you can go with this as well. It's completely fine. I think some of the diagrams is mostly like diagram only and not written, but I could be wrong about that, so maybe check the tags on the pattern page. But yeah, it's quite well written. A lot of people have knitted, which I also find useful when I'm looking through the projects that have been made before and which yarns they use to kind of like estimate what I can expect when I'm using a certain yarn. So yeah, this was something that I'm completely pleased with. Please don't judge Lene for the sleeves because they're improvised, because the summer version usually ends like here, but I like long sleeves, so I made them longer, and especially for like not getting sunburned and stuff like that. So this is my perfect jumper this summer, and I'm super proud. I just hope it kind of cools down a little bit so I can wear it at all, because right now I'm just like, oh, hot, doesn't like it. It's just like, no, everything that's like north of 25 degrees, I'm not made for this. I'm not made for these temperatures. I just want things to cool down again. I hate it when it's hot at night, when it doesn't really cool down in summer. So yeah, I'm very excited about like the cooler, maybe late summer weather we're gonna get, hopefully in like September or something, because sometimes it's just suddenly then it's like 30 degrees the whole way through and you're like, oh my god, it's so hot, I don't like it. Sometimes it gets even warmer, like it's been 38 degrees here in some years, and that is just, I don't know anyone who's happy with that. And then you have 38, and suddenly the temperatures clash, and then it's just rain and like really grey autumn weather. No like nice like summer like late summer with like red leaves and stuff like that. No, it just crashes into 15 degrees and then 10 and 5, and then it's just grey November, and that's it. So I hope for more like transitory weather in a few months so I can wear this out regularly, because I am so proud of this. And also I have 2 travel cast-ons that I can share with you. So the first is a scrunched up Ranunculus, because I forgot my longer circular needles and didn't take them traveling. But you can see it's the beginning of a yoke here, and I'm knitting this Ranunculus out of Dropspo Wool, which is their linen and cotton mixed yarn. So it's quite sturdy and quite airy, which also makes it a bit more of a summer jumper. And my second cast on is a little crescent shawl, and this is one of the nicest yarns I've knit with in a while. This is Mondschaf Leo, so it's I think it's called Leo. It's silk, alpaca and linen, I think, and it's so soft and airy and light. It's so incredibly light, and you can already see from this little bit that it's super drapey as well. This was supposed to be a Fragile Heart shawl by Bunetz, but I'm not actually sure whether it's gonna be a Fragile Heart or whether it's going to be a, what's its name? Heaven Sent. So I haven't quite decided yet how this will go, but whatever it will be pretty, and I think it will have some beads on the tips of it, because this is so light that I think in the wind it will just like kind of blow away around you, so I need something to kind of weigh it down a little bit. The colorway is called Underwood. I'm going to bring it up to the camera, and I liked it a lot because for me it's a bit of a like Lord of the Rings reference, and I love Lord of the Rings, so if you give me a Lord of the Rings name, then I'm already kind of like sold on it, no matter what it is. But it's also gorgeous, and it has these like, it's grey and has these hobbity green speckles in it, and it's been so fun to knit with it, because every time like the green comes up you get happy at like what the colors look like. So I'm quite excited to keep knitting on this as well. But yeah, it might still take me a little bit because I'm still on the body of the shawl, so haven't made it super far on this either. But 2 cast-ons, and you will see next time how they are chugging along. And last but not least, this podcast I'm bringing the book recommendation back, because I adored this book. This book is called Witchlight by Susan Fletcher. It was also published under 2 other titles. I think one was Korak and the other one I don't remember. But it's about the Glencoe massacre. So Glencoe is the area of Scotland we went to. And I only found this book because I googled books about Glencoe because I wanted to know more about the region that I'm traveling to. So I saw this come up, and now I have train tickets falling out of it because I keep them as well. And they're good bookmarks, by the way, so there's a reason for keeping everything. So this is Witchlight. It's about Glencoe, and it's about the Glencoe massacre, because Glencoe was the site of a massacre of the local Scottish clan. That is the tragic background of this place and of this book. And this book tells that story of the Glencoe massacre out of the perspective of a young girl who's been accused of witchcraft and imprisoned, and who witnessed this massacre, and she is talking to someone who is visiting her in her cell and kind of giving the accounts of what happened. So it's quite an interesting premise anyway, but I could just tell that the author had been to this region, and I looked it up later, and yes, she had lived there and she'd hiked all of the hikes and everything. So you could just tell like the love for the landscape just really shone through this novel, and it made me feel really connected to wherever we were going and hiking, because a lot of the places, coincidentally, like we drove by them and I was like, that's been in the book, like I've read about this place and it actually does really look like it. And one day my husband came up with like a hike to this place called the Lost or Hidden Valley. He said like, oh, I read about this valley and it's supposed to be super pretty, so maybe we should go there. And like my jaw just dropped, because I was literally reading about this exact valley, and I was immediately like on board saying, let's go there, yeah, let's do it. And we got there and it just looked exactly like it's described in this book. So that was a surreal experience reading this while being there, and I've never quite had something like that before. It just made me feel like I'd already been there in a way. So the whole vacation kind of felt a bit more like coming back to a place which you know quite well, because she describes stuff so vividly that I really felt like, yeah, I know this tree, I know this boulder, I've been here before, and I hadn't, but it's just, I like the feeling of revisiting places anyway. So having this new place through that lens was just something that made me extremely connected to the area. So I would recommend this book to anyone, but if you're traveling to Scotland especially, I would say give this a go, because it's just a really great book. I think we made it. So this was a really yarn heavy podcast this time, and next time might also be, because we're going to talk about going to the Isle of Skye, and I'm quite excited about that. And if you also like this podcast, I would say don't forget to like this video and to subscribe to my channel, because then you will hear about my Skye adventures very soon. I'm looking forward to seeing you then, and until then, goodbye and enjoy the summer, and please don't get overheated. So see you soon.